Check, check. Hello. All right, sounds good. So let's start. Thank you for everybody to coming to the session. So this is our, how many times already? 22nd? No, 26th, right? 26th, the Azure Meetup. And today we have the two speakers. But before starting, let me just introduce some of the new information about Azure. And I need to check if this is coming to YouTube. All right, so as you may know, we just finished the Microsoft Build event, and who see the keynote? Not everybody, that's unfortunate. But the good news is we upload all the video to the YouTube. So if you go in to the YouTube and just look for the Microsoft Build, there is 333 videos, yet less than 10,000 viewers. So I really hope you enjoy at least the keynote from Satya, which was great. And we have a bunch of the new information today.
And then Okida has a meetup.
Yeah, I can share that later. Yeah. And because we have more than 300 sessions and we have a bunch of new features, this blog, I just introducing one blog article today so that you can take a glance what's coming. So 10 cool things to check out at Microsoft Build 2019. And let me just open the browser. And it might be opening the different window. Yep. All right. So the first one, it's a Microsoft Edge browser built on Chromium. So who have Windows 10 and who do not have new Edge yet? Now it's your opportunity to install the new one. So as you may know, Chrome is running on the Chromium, and the Microsoft Edge was running on the Edge HTML before, and we decided to move on to the open source. So we are building the new Edge browser on top of Chromium OS, which is great. And there are the three versions, I guess. Nightly build, dev build, and the production build. Nothing production yet, but just go for the Microsoft. What was the address? I forgot. Microsoft Edge Insider. Something like that. Try to find the link to install the latest. And the second one, see how technology is helping Starbucks and their baristas. This is very cool example of what we can do with the AI and all the automation stuff for the business. And if you have the opportunity to go into the Seattle, please drop by the Captain Hill, the roastery, all the new feature is implemented in that store. All right, the third one is the framework. This is more like the UI stuff. So if you're a UI developer or UX developer, check out the capability. And another one is the vision for intelligent agent. So every, I think, 3-4 years, we release a new video called Vision. So vision of the future from Microsoft point of view. We release another vision video about the intelligent agent. So finally, the personal assistant can be a personal assistant this time, I hope. And the 5 everyday use of the AI in Microsoft 365 and Office 365. AI is a hot topic, and we also implement our own AI to our own product. So this is an example of how we are using AI in our product, and try to encourage people to using AI for your own service or for your own product. And the number 6, autonomous systems. So this is more like robotics, and the good news is we are committed to the robotics as well. So we have a bunch of the sessions about robotics. So if you are working with the robotics world, please check out. And learn about developer will be able to do with Microsoft Graph data connect. So Microsoft Graph is one single endpoint to get everything, including dynamics. Now we keep enhancing the endpoint. So this is new features. If you're interested in, please check out this link. And the new tools and capabilities in Azure AI. As you may know, Azure AI is the brand name, and we are providing a bunch of services and tools. And if you want to know what's new, AI actually uses a bunch of new features. Check out this link for the further detail. And blockchain is another the buzzword these days. Not these days, kind of 5-6 years ago. But now blockchain coming to the SaaS application or the PaaS application, so that it's very, very easy to building your own blockchain application on top of Microsoft framework. And finally, check out IoT plug and play. So basically, you have a USB, right? When you have a USB, you can just plug and play to the hardware. Now, let's talk about IoT. You have an IoT sensor, like the temperature sensor, humidity sensor, and how you plug and play, right? So this plug and play idea is we take the idea from USB. So if we have the same contract between hardware and the service, any hardware vendor can create any sensor by adhering the contract, then we can easily plug and play with any sensor with any hardware, any certified hardware, talking to IoT hub, right? That's the idea. So if you guys are working for the hardware vendor, please take a look at this one. This is very easy to understand, by the way. All right, so that's the top 10 news from Azure side. And let's go back to the slide. All right, that's it for our news. And we have 2 more news. One news from...
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Kazumi. We launched a community about learning tech with English for Japanese beginners. Yeah. So the first meetup is first meetup's theme is watching the build keynote in English. So we wanna have the opportunity to talk in English for Japanese. So if you you are interested in the meetup, please join us. I will share my the meetup at the meetup page. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity for native speaker to teaching how to speak or listen in English. And I believe most of the people in this room is not native anyway, right? Agree? Yeah. So it may be another opportunity to 1, practice English. 2, find Japanese friend. 3, listen to the keynote. Right? And we have another announcement from the show who works in Yale, who is sponsoring this event all the time. So, Show, what's your announcement today?
Yeah. I don't know. It's not really important. Yeah, I just started kickboxing just only that.
Yay!
So punch me if you can. I've joined just 2 weeks ago. This neck, I just twisted. During sleeping.
During sleeping, during your kickboxing. Yeah. All right. So today we have 2 speakers, Thomas and me. So Thomas, please take over the session. And please unmute your hangout. I will mute my side. So mute here.
Okay. All right.
And you need to display your...
Okay. Okay, cool. My boss has not arrived yet, so I can show the first slide. I was volunteered recently at my job to make a presentation for my colleagues about DevOps, about the CI/CD pipeline in Azure with like a .NET software, so something simple. In 90 minutes. I had a background in operation and development. I know my way around .NET. I played for several months with Azure DevOps, and so it was on me to decide how to do that. So today I will explain what was my reasoning, what I decided to put in the scope, and what was not in the scope, why and why. And at the end, I will try to show you how some of the tool in Azure that I use for the presentation itself. Okay, so that was the original plan. Just I needed to do basic presentation about 90 minutes. There was not a lot of requirement. What I wanted to do, that was the goal that was given to me. And I gave myself a bunch of goals on top of that. So my first goal was to give a good image of DevOps by showing something that works. And since I wanted to do hands-on training, it's difficult because when you create a build pipeline and everything, it tends to throw a lot of error all the time. And I didn't want to have the people during the training have any error. I also wanted to, since a lot of those tools were new for the people that will do the training, I wanted to make an environment where it was not risky to do stuff. So that means we don't use any data that is close to production. We give them a virtual machine. So if they break it, it's okay. We can just generate a new one. And at the same time, we give them a lot of freedom about how to do it. Another goal that I wanted to have, because it related to some other stuff I wanted, was to show that if you do the thing properly, if you create a pipeline, and if you just don't do your release manually, it takes less time than having to do it the old way when everything is some copy and paste release, which is like 50 steps with like copying manually stuff. I wanted to show that it costs even less to do it properly than doing it the old way. I also really wanted people to do it, to really click around, try the stuff. That's mainly so they are not afraid of the tool. They can experiment, but also I think people will have a better memory of it, and the next time they need to do something, they will have the reflex of thinking, hey, how about I use the stuff that I learned? On top of that, there was another secret goal that I gave to myself. In the room, there will be people from operation and people from development. And we talk about DevOps, and a lot of the real training is just like, well, you're a dev, now you need to learn ops, and the other way around. Which can be a bit of a daunting task. It's like two different jobs with two different set of problems. So I wanted in the training that I created, have something for everyone. So operator can see that, having source control, it's not frightening, it's easy to do. And on the other side, for dev, being in charge of their own pipeline or their deployment, it's not that hard too. So that's a lot to do in 90 minutes. A lot of things that I needed to pass through. So I needed to restrict and have a very razor-sharp view of the content. So what? Yes? Can you switch the light?
Yeah, sure.
No. Yeah, it was worse. Yeah. Same.
Okay, it's clear. Cool. All right, cool. Thank you. Sure.
Do you want me to go back a bit? Show the picture? Do you want me to go back? No? Good. So yeah, more or less, I gave myself a lot of pressure with a lot of goals I wanted to do that my boss didn't ask for. So how to do it? 90 minutes. The scope I decided on was we create a new project. By new project, I mean we decide the name of a new project. Why do I want everyone to decide of a new project name? Is so later on, everyone can create the same tool in parallel and we don't have like conflict or everyone trying to mess around in the same source code. That's the best way to do it. Once everyone has that, they create a repository. So they use Azure DevOps, the repository. It's pretty straightforward. They get the default repository, which has just like a README saying here's the new project. Put it inside their Visual Studio code. They create the code scaffold in .NET. So we create a very simple API that just do one thing, just give a random number. So pretty straightforward. It's very difficult to do simpler than that. We push the code to Azure, and then we build a pipeline. We made a build pipeline that build the software, run the test. From that, we create a release pipeline, and we push to Azure. So it means that around 1 hour in, we have something on Azure live working. It's just like saying a default value, but that's already something. It only took 1 hour. Then to talk a bit more about like the cooperation part, really, the DevOps part that is you're not alone in your work. We create a branch, we create a pull request, and we try to progress to see not just the startup of the project, but how it works once it's live. So all of that, you can, if you do it just by following the documentation, trying to speed through it, it takes 45 minutes. If you do it while explaining everything, it takes about the double of the amount of time. So if I had 2 hours, I would have more stuff. There was stuff that I had to put outside. I couldn't do code analysis. I prepared, like I had a sonar cube. So it's very nice. You know, you get your code, you send it, it tells you that you don't have enough tests and that there's a lot of security risk in your code. It's also something very visual. So it works very well, but there was not enough time in the process. I also didn't put multi-step release. So having like a development, QA, UAT, yada, yada, yada. Mostly because it's a lot of copy and paste and it's not that interesting compared to, you know, the first one is nice, but after it's just, you know, busy work. And then a lot of the fiddly bit, you know, creating the connection between one thing to the other, creating access, who can do what. All of that is done before. It's not seen by the student. And something I was not very happy with, but in the end, again, for time constraints, I couldn't do differently. We deploy our app to Azure as an app service, so a very simple container just for code, more or less. What I wanted to do was have people go and click around in the Azure portal, create the resource manually, then add it in their pipeline, then we delete the resource and we say, okay, now we release automatically, we create everything, and that's like magic. We can't do that first part. We do create all by magic, but they don't know exactly where it comes from. It's a bit sad, but yeah. I also, I wanted to have, to make it easy for everyone to do it on their own work computer where nobody is admin. So that way I went, for example, with Visual Studio Code instead of Visual Studio because it works, and I went with .NET Core instead of .NET for the same reason. You don't need to be admin. And I created as a Blue Sky project, so nothing work related, and we'll talk about it just a bit later. Okay, so now the meat of what do you need in Azure if you want to do that. The way I've done it was with two resource groups. So there is the training resource group where I put my stuff, the infrastructure that will exist at the beginning. And there is a demo resource group, which is where people will be pushing their stuff at the end. In the training resource group, I just need an Azure Lab service. So, it's just a resource, you deploy, give it a name, bam, it's done. The lab service allow you to, there is like two sides to it. You can go as a teacher. So you create a virtual machine, you set it the way you want it. And when you're ready to do, a lesson, a training, or, if you just want to play around with the lab, you can then export the template and create as many copies as you want. It takes more or less the same amount of time if you want 5 or 50 VM. They're all exactly the same. You can then decide of who you invite. You put the email to the people that will be in it. They get an email with the link to the VM. It's a RDP session, so it needs to be open on the network, which is not always the case. And they have exactly the same VM as the one you just set up. That's pretty straightforward. From the user point of view, they have access to just their VM. They can do whatever they want. You can make some limitation about it will only be open during business hour, or you have a quota of like, you need to do this lab in 10 hours. And so it's mostly so you don't overpay by having VM running for a long time. I create a service connection, which is the only way that the DevOps project can create in the demo resource group. It allows, so even if it's more difficult for students to break everything. That's the only reason we did, and it's streamlined kind of the deployment. So as I was saying, you create your template VM. In my VM, I took the latest Windows 10. I removed like the game from the start menu, and then I added Visual Studio Code, .NET, Git, a bunch of extensions to make it very nice. So when people open the Visual Studio Code, they have directly something really nicely formatted. They don't need to install anything. .NET project can be compiled directly from it. Everything works fine. Fine, that's the goal. You deploy a mini VM as you want. And so during the training, people will create repository and pipeline. And those pipeline will generate some app service. Again, one of the problems I didn't want to have was having 10 people create the same Fabricam project. So one of the first things we talk about is that it's important to use codename for your project. I know that Google also uses a lot of codename for project, so you don't know what they're talking about. It's very convenient, and in our case, it's very, very convenient because if you call your project like, I don't know, Wonderful Rice, and you push it, you will have wonderfulrice.azuresite.net, Azure website, and you won't have any problem with somebody else from the same group having the same, and or someone outside. Again, it's to streamline, and it allows everyone to be sure that there is no mix-up, really. So I will show you how the Azure Lab Service work just after. So once everything is said and done, you don't have much to do. You create VM for everyone, you send the invitation. You need to give them access so they can create the different stuff in in the Azure DevOps project for the demo that you created. That's more or less it. During you do your presentation. So you have all the information, click here. Here you're doing that because of this. Open the shell, run the test. It's working, it's not working. Why not? I recommend that if you do something like that, you leave the lab after, because not everyone works at the same time. So it's better to leave the lab open after and to put a quota so nobody stay connected for several hundred hours. And if you plan to become a professional going to company to show this kind of technology, you may want to have a script to clean everything, all the garbage that was created in the DevOps project and on the demo resource. So, a lot of lessons learned, so you don't have to do the same mistake that I've done. Some were more painful than the other. So the most painful ones that Microsoft Lab, in the beginning you choose the type of VM, like small, medium, large. So large with GPU. Once you have decided, you can't change back. So I started with the smallest one, and it's too small for just VS Code, the running a bunch of stuff, and the browser. So I had to do everything all over again in a bigger VM. You can also like export, play with a VM, reimport, but it's a bit complicated. I wanted to have everything like very neat, very following state of the art. Azure DevOps, if you want to only give people right to create repository, create pull request, build pipeline, release pipeline, which is what I wanted, and create issues. It's very difficult to do that without giving them admin to everything. And if you give them admin to everything, well, then they can start deleting everybody else's account and requests. So, and the naming convention, if you play with it, it's not easy. So it's clearly something they need to work on. It's a project. You may want to do it a bit at the last minute, because if you do it too much in advance, you need to open your VM from time to time before, because if not, VS Code will shout that it needs update all the time. So at least prepare your VM, update, republish a new version. What worked the best for me was to create a template on the demo. So, create demo on the template, meaning you start your template VM and you say, okay, I install my stuff, here I create my new project, so I write the documentation for that. Then at the end, I need kind of to clean my the project. So typically I would be connected to my own account because I'm setting up something or I forgot the password. And so you clean the VM and you publish and you try it the same presentation as a student, and you have to do it a lot of time. More lesson learned. So it's more on the presenting when you're doing it. So I won't be talking about the problem with people that don't have the same level technically or to follow in English. That's another issue for another day. So the first one may be a bit controversial. I use tricks in my presentation, meaning we do some operation in a certain order, not for the reasons that are official. So for example, in the beginning of the presentation, I say, okay, now you have access to your VM, open Visual Studio Code, look around. The real reason I ask people to do that is that later on, when they will try to clone their repository directly into VS Code, if VS Code is not open, it kind of fails half of the time. But if everyone already has VS Code, it works. So again, I could just say that, but they're just, adding to the noise. It's not signal, it's not interesting. There's like several small parts like that that are a bit, here we do a bit of magic. Since we have people from ops and from dev and maybe people from different business line, you need to agree on the vocabulary. If you say, oh, that's a project, nobody has the same idea of what a project is, especially since we have here a DevOps project, but inside your DevOps project, you create a visual .NET project, then a second .NET project that you put inside the solution that it's a lot of work that you need everyone to agree on before. And yeah, try not to use projects in general. It complicates everything. So do a lot of test run. So the big problem is if at some point you have like a super idea, oh yeah, I want to change that because I want to retheme everything around the latest TV show I watch. Then you need to do it again from the beginning. You need to check that every step. And when I mean every step, I just mean like you copy and paste one line at a time and you check that everything gives you the right result every time. It's a lot of time. And as I said before, if you do it just following, because you've done it 10 times in a row, but if you do it while trying to explain to people, it will take twice the time. So really the actual content that I can deliver is 45 minutes worth of programming, operating, developing in 1 hour and a half. So that's the last part of the lesson. First one, split the instruction for code. In the beginning, I was like, okay, so you're in your VM, you are your Visual Studio Code, and if you want to check where we are at, you can switch between files. It's very complicated for people to do that. So instead, have one screen with your code, one screen with the explanation, and they can do the same. They have everything in the browser somewhere, they switch if they need, they don't, it's fine. Don't try to put everything too much together. Not everyone will finish on time. So again, you need to make it clear that it's okay if halfway through it, you cannot follow along, just relax, follow on the screen and do it later on your own time. It's okay, it's not a race. Since I put a lot of content, I only allow questions during the downtime. So downtime, it's like, it's compiling, it's testing, it's pushing, it's building. You also want to have people going around that already did the training before. That will help the one that are stuck. It's a good help, and Ross will be doing that very soon. So yay. And the last one I wanted to say is do a blue sky project. So blue sky project, it's when you don't care about all the existing stuff. Meaning. I work in an insurance company. The project that I want people to work on is like a random number generator for a video game. So something that is totally unrelated to their business. The reason for that, there's a bunch of them. One of them is that security, I don't have to talk to them to decide what is okay, what is not okay, because it's totally unrelated. So that's pretty nice. Also, we don't have the problem that if you are kind of expert in the subject, you will tend to get bogged down in some details or another. And I don't want that. So I try to find something that is far away from everyone's work. And the way to do that, I created a fake new business line. I would recommend you create a fake company. So that's a bunch of fake company who can recognize. I just, it's a geek test. None of them?
Accenture?
Accenture is a real company. They don't do real work. No, Aperture Science is from video game.
Okay.
This one is from Initech. It's from Office Space. And the last one is from Back to the Future. It's the Fusion company. And the third one, I forgot. It was written in the documentation of my slide, but I don't have it here. It's the company from Blade Runner. It's Tyrell Corporation. Okay, so create your own fake company and invent a product for them.
We have a fake company for Contoso.
Yes, I also.
VentureWorks.
Yes, so there's Contoso, you have Fabricam. I started the slide with the Microsoft one, but there's also a number of companies using, there's like a real company called Contoso, so it's very confusing now. Okay, so I will just show you a bit the lab, how it looks like. I will try. I think I have a VM almost ready to run, so I want to show you that. So that's like the kind of documentation. I explain what's on the VM, and you can. So I also use the wiki to do that. So there is like all the stuff that you can you need to type.
That's a public report?
No, it's internal. I could probably, if I request on intern, we can maybe publish some of the stuff. So you will see the lab service. So that's the teacher side, the side, even the admin side. So you have your user. You can add them one by one or with a CSV list.
I think the service itself is quite new.
Yeah, it's pretty recent. You can say when they can connect. So it's more like for a school maybe, or for like if you have a training room. So the different VM, I will try to. So one should be ready. Yeah. So here I have the full list, but if you are so as you see, just create a RDP file. You open it. It's out because of security issue. So typically, as you can see, when you open it, it starts with the admin account that you created. If you want the user to start as a user, not an admin, I'm not sure what's the best way to do that. So here it's a VM. So the demo is done, again, was based on random number generation, like a throw of dice. So I also changed all the wallpaper to be dice related. And they have the Visual Studio Code with everything already set up. The first start will open a welcome message. That's the time. Visual Studio Code has a presentation mode you can activate. I would still think that it's better if you're trying to teach to set a bit more your environment than just the basic one. And so when you start, you have access to the project name generator and the documentation that say here, do this and that. I'm waiting for the shell to be ready. We'll generate the project name.
And yeah, that was way slower when it was a small VM.
Yeah, it would have. Wow, doesn't work. So yeah, as I said, the big problem is the demo, they never work when you try to do it live. So as you can see just exactly here by launching the first command of the first thing that I'm trying. That's why you want to, oh, okay, it works. So it generated the project called the Snowflake. So it also set a bunch of variables inside the machine. So every time it needs the project name, to set your class name in your .NET for your namespace, it will use that automatically. And if somebody else run it, they will get something else. They will get flat mass or something like that. So that's more or less it for me. If you have any question, it's now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So for this kind of PowerShell script and the Markdown,
Mm-hmm.
you can provision with the VM or you need to copy that? How you provision the...
So when I created the template, I installed inside manually Visual Studio Code. I installed all my extension. And once it's done, so here you can see on the dashboard, once it's loading, you will see my main template. So here, for example, it's my main template. And so I set everything, and then I can republish. That will put the VM exactly in the same setup. So I only have to do it once, and yeah, I can do it.
So, what did people like about it? Like, do you notice like the different departments like had like different kind of aha moments about the demo for training?
For now, I only run it once as a medium-sized group. It's more, there is a feeling of achievement when when they push to production the first time, and when they really finish the thing. Because when we push to production the first time, or to live environment, let's say, we are just doing like the templated stuff. So it's not even returning a random number. It's just saying value 1, value 2. But after you do your pull request, you add a feature. So for somebody that is like doesn't know much about programming, they just have to copy the file, they send it, and now it's doing something, and it's doing what they programmed. So that's kind of the two moments. And myself, when I prepared the training, I was very surprised. If you do everything from scratch using the Azure tools, it's very, very nice, because you will create your repository, and when you have your repository, you just have one click to do to create the build, and it will populate everything in a way that is not crazy. And you will say, oh, I'm deploying a .NET project. You create your build. Once you have one build that works, you can create release. It will create a default release pipeline, and you say, oh, you're doing .NET? Okay, you probably need this kind of stuff. So if you do everything within the tool, it's very, very, very fast. And so that was really the point, because I didn't use that when I was just clicking around the tool the first time. So that's the different point that people are interested in. Okay.
And yeah, I'll probably just to add to that, if you're using Azure DevOps, you get 5 free users. So if you've got the organization, so if you're doing a small class for 5, you can get away with a free account as well on that side of it. I think it gives you 1 free pipeline as well. So with something like that, it wouldn't take too long.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah. One part that I didn't put, I wanted to add a load test at the end, but well, first I think they are removing it from DevOps, so I think it's not so good to showcase it. But it can also be done very easily. And I also added in the I was gonna say the paper version, the instruction, there is like some bonus part, something you don't have to do, but that allow you to go a bit further. I think it's nice, and all the code is available, so the people in the company can play with it. If they want to reuse the project name generator, they are free to do so. Okay, that will be all for me. And if you have any question, you don't want to ask in front of everyone, feel free to ask. So.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. So we take a 5 minutes break, and then we resume the session from 8:20. And please eat up all the pizza and the drink outside, the restroom outside.
But we all work together in the lab together. But it's it's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's still quite and they're also pretty good. And it's a great. Yeah. No, I'm not going to have built that race. It does move up the test. The enterprise agreements in the Hague, Netherlands, where the head office is. And so you're seeing in euros. That's moving on up. I think something that's probably researching everyone wants this. Well, if you're starting out, that's like it's very difficult. There's a budget. Or in the end, you've got the calculator along just in the nowadays. So I think you're cool. Yeah. And then things like you migrated. Have you never come before? Okay. So it must be defined and
All right, so can we resume the session? Please have a seat. And yeah, could you turn off the light? We have pizza. So we mute it. All right. All right, so thank you for Thomas for the very interesting Azure Lab Services, right? It was my first time to hear in the service, unfortunately. I think that is very super cool. So maybe next time when I do the hands-on lab with the customer or with my friend or my students, I can try to use that, right? And I try to learn from the lesson learned. I just took 3 of the pictures and uploaded to Facebook. That was so funny. All right, so this time I try to explain what is the Azure Cognitive Services, but before even start doing that, how many of you in this room is a developer? Declare yourself as a developer. Yeah, kinda. And how many of you know the cognitive services? All right, on the other hand, who do not know what is cognitive service? Cognitive service. Yeah. All right, so I just briefly explain what it is and show in the demo. So the goal of today for you is to understand what is Azure Cognitive Service, what you can do with it, and how to start doing that, right? And if you already know the cognitive services, I have a bit of the new update from Bill last time. So let's start. So if you are interested in the latest news about what's new from the last build 2019, this is a blog post Anyway, I will share the slide later, so you can just click the link. But it's a deep dive into what's new with Azure Cognitive Services. So let me just open this link. All right, so this is the blog post showing what are the new features. And if you are very new to cognitive service, everything new, right? And if you already know the cognitive service, the latest section of the cognitive service is this personalizer, anomaly detector, and content moderator. So we actually have a new section, decision. So how many of you can tell me what was the original file of the cognitive service? Now we have decision, speech, language, vision, search. So we had 5 before. One of them is swapped to decision. What was that? Nobody? It was knowledge. So knowledge become decision. Why? Knowledge is just a knowledge, right? Which meaning human being have to decide what to do by using the knowledge. Now AI even helping you to decide what to do. That is a decision. So if you go into the decision, content moderator is something try to identify if a document is good enough to share, or maybe the image also good enough to share. And anomaly detection is something you can identify if there is an issue with the picture or not, like whenever you check with a smart factory scenario, when you're giving the bunch of the good image of the product and some of the defected image of the product, then you can identify which one is good or bad. It is easy, right? But what if you have a bunch of telemetry and you do not know quite well when something went wrong? Then this guy can help you to identify what is anomaly or not. And the personalizer. So by using for example, if I'm using the Facebook, for example, you see the ads, right? Advertisement. And when you read advertisement, meaning you may prefer that ad, right? Then Facebook try to give you another similar advertisement. If you ignore that advertisement, Facebook try to give you the totally different content because you may want to like it, right? So this personalizer working in a very similar way by giving you the opportunity to provide the appropriate content for your customer, right? This is very complex logic behind, but by using this personalizer, it's very good. It sounds a bit similar to the recommendation, but slightly different. All right, so going back to the blog. So these 3 are new, and we have the cognitive service API and the documentation, and we also have the GA services. So some of the services are still in preview, and gradually preview service is going to be GA, right? For other developer, GA doesn't matter too much, but for the customer, GA is very important because Microsoft saying it's good enough for the production, right? All right, so that's the what's new part of the build. Now, so we have 5 sections of cognitive service. So what is cognitive services? Cognitive services is the part for the computer to be clever enough to be an AI, to overcome human being, maybe in the future. Then the decision is to decide based on the information for the next action, right? And speech is your mouth to speak out for the computer. When computer has speech capability, what they can do, they can speak and they can also listen. So this including speech to text and text to speech. And language, this is language understanding. And I will explain that later. And vision is the eye of the computer. So the human being, when you see the cat, you identify that cat. When you see dog, you identify that dog. With the vision service, computer has an even better capability compared to the human being. Computer knows more than you. Then search is a being search. So it search image, video, content, everything. As long as being can search the things, computer can do that as well. Back to the language. Language is a very interesting part. So if I coming back to the cognitive service, and if I check language, so language has a text analytics to see it's a positive sentence or not, and the spell checker. This is I did. I spell it wrong all the time. So being spell checker, and the content moderator is coming here, and the text translation the text. So when I type English, it translates to Japanese. And the Q&A maker is actually coming here. It was in the knowledge section before, but it moved to the language understanding. Then we have the language understanding service. It's also known as LUIS, Language Understanding Intelligence Service. So why this is important? When I say I need a coffee, you understand my intent, right? I want to get a coffee. But sometimes I talk to my wife. Do you have a minute? Are you busy? Are you sleepy? All of these sentences meaning I need a coffee. And my wife understands that, you don't, right? So basically the Microsoft gives the pre-trained model for the very normal conversation. So like when you're talking to the Cortana understands what you mean. But whenever you need to customize model to your specific domain, you can create your own language understanding model. So if I'm creating the model to my wife, and if I say, do you have a minute? My current wife understands that. What if I have a new wife in the future, right? If I can pass in the model, this guy translate, hey, he need a coffee, right? That's my intent. So the language understanding service analyzing the sentence to try to see the intent, meaning what is I want to do, and entity with the key phrase. So if I say, I need to wake up 8 a.m. in the morning tomorrow, my intent is set alarm, maybe, right? The entity is 8 a.m. in the morning, maybe next day as well. Then if I say, I need to see my friend 8 a.m. in the morning, this sounds very similar, but intent is set a schedule rather than set an alarm, right? But if I go to the different business, if I say, I need to see my friend 8 a.m. in the morning, it may be set an alarm, right? It depends. Even the exact same sentence may be using the different intent. That's why your custom-owned language understanding service is powerful, so that you can create your own model. All righty. And back to the slide. And today I would like to focus on the vision service to some demonstration. So I said that vision service is an eye of the computer, and it has a computer vision. It's called computer eye. And what it does pretty much everything. Then we have the face API to see who you are, to see your emotion on the face, if you're smiling, sad, happy, or neutral. Then ink recognizer, video indexer, and the custom vision I will show in the demo later, and the form recognizer. So let's start from ink. So most of the time, how to start cognitive service is very same. Just go to ak.ms/cognitive. Then it will navigate you to azure.microsoft.com/cognitive services. Then just pick up the menu you want to try. In this case, I want to try vision. I want to try ink recognizer, right? If you go into the page, most of the service already have the demo environment embedded. So if you scroll down, and I just need to make it bigger. So this is a demo, right? On the left-hand side, we have the handwritten letter with handwritten diagram or a shape. Then on the right-hand side, this is understood by using this ink recognition. This is pretty good, right? Then you want to try it for yourself, right? All right, so I do my best to write it down with my finger. I don't know if it requires the last one. And analyze. Azure, Tokyo, where's the heart mark? Come on. But anyway, so this is how easy it is to recognize. And now we have a bunch of different. Now we have JGP. Cool, right? Are you sure? Let's write down my name. Yay. And do you know what? If you change, it should be Spanish. If you change to Spanish, and if you write down, this is a trick. If you write down something like this, and if I do the analyze, it doesn't recognize too much. But the point is, if I do these 3 lines, right, it does its best to guess what it is. Right, and this is a joke. So that's the ink recognizer. That's very easy to start, right? So now you get some idea what you want to do with this service. The next step is going to scroll back. Then there is the documentation, FAQ, security feature, bunch of the information of this particular service. So just go to the documentation to try it. And actually it's very, very easy because not most, but every cognitive service is just REST endpoint. You just create a HTTP client, requesting like post, put, delete, get by passing the body. And as a developer, it's very easy to imagine what you want to pass in. This time, image, right? You just sending the image file. And then whenever you send image file, there are 2 ways to pass in the image file. One is the image path. Another is the image content, right? Then what you can get as an answer is becoming as a JSON. Or you can see the request like this, right? So this is a very interesting page to try out. All right, so let's try something else. If I come into text analytics, for example, and it looks like it can detect language, and it can detect key phrase, and the sentiment, and the entity, right? So let me just type something. And analyze. It's English for sure, yes. Key phrase Microsoft, sentiment 97% positive. How about now? Ooh. Sentiment becomes 3%, right? Because I don't love Microsoft. How about that? I hate Microsoft. 2%, even worse. Then I don't hate Microsoft. It's back to 87, but so from the AI point of view, love is stronger than don't hate. I don't know. So this is very interesting. We have a bunch of the demo about the analyzing the Twitter. Right? So whenever you are providing some service and you'd like to know what people around the world talking about your service or your product, you just do the hashtag, try to get all the tweet from the Twitter by using Logic App or the Kafka, anything. And once you get the text from the Twitter, just sending the information to this service. Then you can see if they are saying something good about it. right? So let's try Japanese. I said I love Microsoft in Japanese. All right, so this time it's recognized as Japanese. Yes. And the key phrase is Microsoft. And why the sentiment is 50%? Because Microsoft does not support Japanese sentiment analytics yet. So everything going to 50% neutral, right? But before, we didn't show anything. We showing the 50%. It's kind of confusing. But anyway, that's how it is, right? All right. So back to another demo. So let's try Face. Face API under the vision. Face. And what you can do with a Face API, just imagine what you can do. And you do not have an answer to all the capability, right? And you don't want to read the documentation. But this site is very nice because you can take a glance to understand what it is. First of all, it says face verification. Check the likelihood that two faces belong to the same person or not. So when you have one picture, when you have another picture, and whenever you try to identify if he is this guy or not, then this is a service you want to use. So the guy on the left, guy on the right, are they look same or not? For me, it looks same. Maybe not. Because from my point of view, or the American or the European guys, it looks very same for any picture, right? It's the same apply to you guys, right? You never distinguish Japanese and Chinese, right? All right, so let's try something different image. So who you want to search for? Maybe Satya? Looks nice. All right, so I put Satya picture on the left, and on the right, who you want to put. And when you have doubt if these two guys are same or not, you just submit two pictures, and the confidence level is 0.09. It's likely they are the different people, right? So let's try something different. Yeah, Satya and Satya, but I try to pick up some different picture. It does not look like Satya. Younger? Ah, right. With a nice hair, right? Not young. This one. This is Satya for sure. Come on, AI. Oh, it says 0.78, so it looks very similar to Satya Dancy Burma for sure. Anyway, so you have to, as a developer, you have to decide what's a good threshold. But anyway, this is one way to using the face API. And another one is the face detection. So it detects where is your eye, where is your mouth, where is your nose, and have you ever played the game to put the sunglass on top of your hair or put the cat ear on top of your face, right? This application using this kind of technology to identify your head, eye, the nose, the mouth, right? And it also detecting if she's smiling or angry, right? So let's try something angry face. Don't get me wrong, I love Steve Burma. I keep saying to my friend, I really do. And let's see. So face is recognized correctly. And gender is said male, age 56. And yeah, no grass, emotion. Looks like it's neutral, maybe. Looks angry for me, but it's neutral. So there is a bunch of the out-of-box sample picture anyway. So you can, using your own picture to try, you can use the out-of-box samples to try. And once you like it, what you want to do, go back to the top to check the API reference or documentation to start, right? What else we can do? Emotion recognition, right? So this face detection, the things about the cognitive service is sometimes the service A has 10 features, but some service B may only have 2 features from that service A. Why? Because we want to only get the emotion. I don't care if where the eye. I don't care if they are the glass or not. I only care the emotion. Then we can use the emotion API, which is better for the developer point of view because we don't have to pass too much JSON, right? All right, so what else we can do? We can do the similar face search. This is using the picture, the application, right? When you take one guy and when you try to find the similar guy in the entire picture in your library, like a million pictures, using this service to try to identify what the similar pictures. And the face grouping. So without telling, try to find this guy. By using this service, it can classify the images into the groups by judging these groups have the same face. These groups are another different same faces, right? So if you just take a look of each services, then you can understand what it is and you can try how it works, then go to the documentation to start doing that. And all the services, the REST endpoint, REST base. So if you are using Python, Java, Ruby, C#, .NET, VB.NET, doesn't matter, right? As long as you can call in the web service, that's it. All right, so the next one I want to showing is a custom vision. All right, so what I can tell is when I do the computer vision is the most rich the capability of the vision service. It's showing what this picture is, right? So if I submit my picture from my local drive, picture. So if I submit my lovely cat, so this is a Chibi-chan. This is Chibi-chan. And Chibi-chan is said cat. Yeah, kinda. It's cat, yes, for sure. And I have another cat, Mei-chan. 4 megabyte. So it's too big. How about this one? Come on. No, anyway. So anyway, the common model only gives me certain level of the classification. Cat is cat. It doesn't recognize my cat, right? So I want to creating my own vision service to recognize 2 of my cats. One cat, Mei-chan, one cat, Chibi-chan, right? Because it's important to me. For you guys, maybe it's just another cat. For me, it's not. Then how to do that? Do you want to start running the Python to do the classification for the image, to do the three channels to blah, 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 it take a day or 2 days or a week or month, right? Now we have the service called the custom vision. So custom vision is the free GUI service. So as a developer, you do not have to know about all the AI stuff, right? So just go to the customvision.ai and log in as an account which have the subscription of the Azure and click the new project. My cat, and a resource group. So I'm creating the new project. Creating. Wait a bit. No worries, we still have 30 minutes. All Alrighty. And the object type, we can do classification, and we also can do the object detection. What's the difference? Classification is whenever you send a picture, it tells you what it is, right? This is a Chibi-chan or this is a Mei-chan. Object detection, on the other hand, is giving you the address of the inside the picture. In this area, there is a kid. In this area, there's a tree. So object detection obviously is more complicated and complex. In my scenario, I only want to identify who is in the picture, right? So I do not have any plan to send a picture with the 2 cats inside, right? If I do that, I may want to do the object detection to identify where is it, where in this picture we have a Chibi-chan. But this time I only send the picture with the 1 cat to identify which one is that. So I just select the classification, and you can do the tagging, and you can do the domain, general, food, landmark, retail. So I just pick up the general.
What's the difference between retail and retail contact?
I don't know. You can read the documentation. Good question. Thank you. All right, so I'm just adding the image. So let's add May. And at least you need to have 5 images, by the way. So my tag is May. Uploading. And I add another image of Chibi-chan. Chibi. All right, then I click train. So now I have the 5 in total 10 pictures, and asking custom vision service to try to recognize these pictures. So the training is finished. Now I can do the quick test. For the testing, I strongly recommend you to pick up the picture which is not part of the training. So I select different picture. And predicate says it's 100% May. Yay! Woo! Yeah, go ahead, applause. And I have another cat picture, which is an old cat, and it said 100% Chibi Mei-chan. Why is that? All right, so one thing you want to be careful about the classification. As name infers, classification classifies something. When I give in 2 options, it tries to classify either way. Doesn't have to be 100%, but it gives me several percent Chibi-chan, several percent Mei-chan, right? There is no norm, right? But if I give in the bunch of the octocat image and the map as octocat, then it should recognize it as octocat. And what if I pass in the another cat image? I keep doing that, but that happens anyway, right? So this is a very easy way to doing the custom vision. Then I can do the publish, because this is a good. Then this is a web API. It's already published. You can hit from here. You can hit from there. You can hit from anywhere. Just send in a cat picture to see if it classifies as a Chibi-chan or a Mei-chan, right? And I actually have a 3rd cat, or Chelsea. Chelsea looks very similar to Chibi-chan, and I do my best to try to distinguish Chibi-chan and Chelsea, and it's never succeeded so far. So custom vision obviously have its own limitation, but this is a great way to classify your own product. For example, let's imagine if you go to, let's say, maybe some coffee stand, and if you have 10 products, everything coffee, and the package is very similar, slightly different, right? What happens when you take the picture of one of the product and send to the computer vision? It might just say coffee, and you don't know which one is it, right? But by using the custom vision, chances are you can create in your own classification model very easy, right? Another scenario is whenever you have the smart factory again, and when you try to find out which the part of this one, like the screwdrivers or maybe board, which looks very similar, and you want to elaborate, right? This is MS001, this is MS002. Then this is a way you want to classify by using the custom vision. All right. So going back, so I already did ink, I already did face, I did the custom vision. And Luis, I do not think I don't have enough time today for the Luis. So I skip that. And the first, final one, intelligent kiosk. So, oops, I put the escape, sorry. All right, so whenever you want to see more capability about the cognitive service, it's the recognized, so intelligent kiosk. So it's the GitHub. So there is an open source project called Intelligent Kiosk. This is a Windows 10 UW application. So you just go to the GitHub repository, just do the git clone, give the subscription key, hit F5 to run in the Visual Studio. Now you have many function in front of you, so that you do not have to think about what this feature is doing. You can just see it. So this is a quick video. And let me just play this one. Can I play this one? Maybe not for now. So there is a YouTube video which is introducing this intelligent kiosk, and it's 7 minutes long, so please go ahead to watch that. Then finally, the last one I want to explain today is the container support. All right, so it's great, the quality service is working as you want, but yes and but, I don't want to send my cat image over the internet because it's PII. Maybe not, but it's very precious asset of mine, right? I don't want to send that one. Maybe the data is too big. Two, security issue. I don't want to reveal the picture data to the public, even though it's secure. Yes, it's secure. It's HTTPS, but anyway, I don't want to send it. So what you want to do? I want to do the cognitive analysis on the local computer or local network, so that I don't have to send the image over the wire, right? So we are supporting a bunch of the cognitive services as a container. So how this works? It's very simple. You just installing the Docker onto the laptop. And by the way, this has to be Linux way. You can install Docker in the Windows, but make it the Linux container. And go to the Linux container. There's a Docker hub. There's a documentation where to download these services. So you download it. Now, all of a sudden, you can running all the cognitive service in local. And how we are charging that, right? So after several iteration or several, maybe 50 minutes or 30 minutes, that container service sending the usage information only to Microsoft, so that we can charge you, but we do not get your private data. We only get in the statistics, how many times you're using that for the charging purpose. So even though you can run this on the local, it does not mean you don't need internet. You have to connect into the internet so that you can send in the usage information to Microsoft, but all the processing can be done on the local. And when you're running the container, there's a two ways to running the container. One is just a Docker. Another one is an IoT Edge. So if you joined the last session, I was explaining Azure IoT Edge. Azure IoT Edge is a hardware service that you can run in a bunch of the container services on the IoT Edge side. Could be Raspberry Pi, could be Windows 10, could be big server, doesn't matter. But there is the mechanism to having the multiple containers talking each other to do whatever you want. Then we have the two versions of the container, one for the just simple container running on top of the Docker. Another container is for the IoT Edge container. So in either scenario, go to the documentation to see if it's supported or not, because we do not support all the cognitive services. But good thing for the custom vision, actually, we are supporting the image. So if I go back to my custom vision, and because I created this document, this cognitive custom vision project by using the full model, if I creating this one, with a compact version, if I do that with a compact version, and once this is done, if I train that, and you already see this export, right? Then I can exporting this container to various places for iOS, for TensorFlow, for Docker files, and for the Onyx. Do you know Onyx one? This is open source, the modeling, so that even though you're creating the model by using TensorFlow, you do not have to use the TensorFlow to analyze. It's open stuff, not Microsoft contributing this a lot, but many other companies also contributing, so that the framework you are using to building the model is not limited to run the model, right? It's open source one. Then we also have the Vision AI Dev Kit. You can order this very soon, not yet, very soon. So this is how you can creating your custom vision, and you can run that custom vision service on the local computer. That's cool, right? All right, so that's it for today. And because it's 9 p.m. already, I do not have any time for the Q&A. But there is one thing I want to do. First of all, I want to say goodbye to YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. Bye-bye.